Hello everyone, I'm Boli from Boli's Korean. Have you ever thought about giving yourself a Korean name? Or have you ever been curious about how Koreans name themselves or a newborn baby? Yeah, that's right. Today I'm going to talk about how native Koreans name. Of course, the method of naming in Korea varies depending on the individual's major values. For example, some name after the person's name they respect, others even use popular names. And also, there are some people who use a Korean noun with a pretty meaning as a name, just like I did to my daughter, 하늘. But the Korean naming I'm going to talk about today is the method used in naming centers called 철학관 or 장명소 that many Koreans visit to change their names or to name their newborn babies. As this Korean naming culture is so Korean, it will be very interesting. When we walk through the alleys in Korea, we can see many signs that say 철학관 or 장명소 like these. And they are where Koreans go for a name. Many of my acquaintances and relatives have named their babies this way. And on Mom's online community cafe, there always are constant inquiries about which naming center is famous or reliable. To give you a little more information, the average price for a name is about $250, but for a famous one, it is about $415. I'm pretty sure that many of you've never been to a Korean naming center yet, so I tried it with Jonah from America to share this Korean style naming experience. Curious? Let's get started! Hello, I'm Boli, and it's Boli's Korean.
Okay.
If it doesn't work, can we introduce ourselves? Maybe say hello as well.
Sure, yeah. Hello. 안녕하세요. My name is Jonah, and I am an American, and I live in Korea. So I'm from California, in America, and there are a lot of Koreans living in that area. So I knew about Korean names. I'd heard them a little bit, but I didn't know a lot. And in university, I made some friends from Korea who were studying in the United States. And they had English names and Korean names. And I thought that was interesting, having two different names for two different countries or cultures. So that's what started my interest in it. But I didn't need a Korean name living in America, but it was interesting to me. And then once I came to Korea to be an English teacher, it became more important. I thought about it more and more, thinking I would like to have a Korean name because I was thinking about my friends at home, how they had to take an English name to make it easier for people to meet them. And I thought that why should only they have to do it? Now I'm in Korea, I should do the same, right?
You sound friendly, right, to the natives.
Yeah, right, yeah. So I don't think my name is too difficult. Jonah is like short, right? But it's still foreign, right? In Korea. So that's what I was thinking about with getting a Korean name. So I did try to look up online different Korean names.
You tried?
Yeah, and learn Hangul so I could read them. But it was difficult because I didn't know anything about how they sounded to Koreans. And I told you earlier how one of my coworkers, her student suggested a name for me, and it was Kong Da-yoon.
How old is she or student?
The student. Oh, the student.
Named you Taeyoon.
Yeah, Ta-yoon, right. Yeah,
That's pretty
very young, maybe 6 years old. Yeah. And I didn't know until much later that it's more of a woman's name, right?
I guess she didn't mean to hurt you,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. She did.
That's my point.
She didn't warn me, yeah. So it was hard to pick it on my own, like as a foreigner, because I don't know how they sound and what's old-fashioned or modern, and then the idea of hanja and the meanings, it was very complicated to me. So I was really excited to get an authentic Korean name through the process that you described to me. It was really, really exciting.
Instead of visiting the center together, I'd already given his information to the naming expert for his Korean name. And I have his candidate names now. So I guess I need to explain to him how these name candidates were born, right? I don't know anything about Chinese or other Asian countries' naming, but it is said that this method of naming has been highly respected since ancient China. So, a person's inclination and life path is interpreted through the theory of Yang Wu Heng, an ancient Chinese philosophy. The point of the logic is that the creation and extinction of humans is like the circular logic of the universe that revolves and rotates. You've probably heard of the Chinese philosophy of Yang. Do you happen to know the meaning of Wu Heng as well? The word Wu Heng literally means 5 planets: Mercury, Jupiter, Mars, Saturn, and Venus. The message here is that each planet represents a major element in specific numbers like this. It means the combination of elements extracted according to an individual's birth information identifies a person's inclination and life path. The symbolic numbers are used when the strokes of Chinese characters are combined. In order to interpret a person's natural inclination and life path, one's Saju is applied to the logic of Yang Wu Heng. The word Saju literally means 4 columns, which are actually 4 factors: birth year, month, day, and time. As they are used as columns in the process of interpreting, they are called Saju, 4 columns. The 8 letters extracted like these are called 팔자. 팔자, however, is actually used as a noun that means born destiny rather than 8 letters. So in Korea, we often use expressions like the person's 팔자 is tricky, or we live as our born 팔자, when they see people who suffer a series of unfortunate events, or people who live fortunate or unfortunate life regardless of the person's willingness or efforts. Each individual has a certain inclination and life path based on how these factors are set in the person's life. Each of the 5 elements has its own propensity and characteristics, and both bright and dark sides. But to mention just the good side of them roughly, fire person would be passionate and honest. Water person, smart, handsome, and popular. Wood person would be tall, interested in learning. Matter person would be decisive and fearless. And earth soil person would be headstrong and peaceful, etc. Having certain elements doesn't mean someone has bad or good life paths. Rather, it is important that the various elements be harmonized in a well-balanced way. Now, let's have a look at who Jonah is according to his birth date. Each of 4 columns has meaning like offspring, parents, or ancestors, and the second one, month, is about oneself. Since he was born with the energy of soil, he basically has the energy of peace, love, and engagement. His month element is in line with his day element, meaning things would go smoothly, so his life path will go smoothly. Do you see? 4 out of the 8 letters represent water, so he has the characteristics water generally indicates. His face is handsome, he is intelligent, emotionally developed, and popular. Here is a really interesting part. He doesn't have matter or wood at all. As you see, 4 out of the 8 elements are filled with water, so there's not much room for other elements. Is there? Anyway, as there is no matter and wood, the chance of holding a high position in the government could happen weak, which has been a meaningful and proud position to Koreans. was considered as a noble one with stable salary anyway. But the weak luck in financial aspect will be replenished in the life paths as he has fires around him. You know, fire helped all things grow in the soil. As a result, he wouldn't have financial difficulties. He's lucky one. Also, he's interested in learning and religion, enjoys traveling, and likes quiet places.
It's all true. Yeah. It's interesting. We have my girlfriend and I traveled a lot, like Europe, Africa, South America, and she came with me to Korea. So it's interesting that
His personality is self-respecting and he hates losing to others. Also, he tends to think he is superior in his mind, so he always needs to be considerate of others first.
superior.
In your side. You believe it. Considerate, please, of others first.
Sure.
Lastly, he also mentioned that a nobleman of heaven helps his fate, which means things go well in unexpected ways, such as suddenly having someone to help him. The expert even said he should thank his mom for giving birth at that time. Wow, he was born with a really great one. Congrats, Jonah! You know what? Someone's Saju normally doesn't say things nicely like this. It is very common to hear scary things such as you have no luck with your spouse or fortune something.
It was really fascinating for me to learn about the meaning and the history of it, as you said, and how much meaning there is in a Korean name. Because, as I said before, I was just looking at them on the internet, and it's hard to glean all of this information as especially a foreigner. So this was fascinating for me, and feels a lot more significant to get a name this way than going on Wikipedia or something like that, right? Yeah, so the Saju was really, really fascinating for me and really meaningful, especially because as you were explaining my own characteristics, I noticed my own personality is very much represented here. I was curious what was going to happen. I was hoping nothing bad, right? And I was surprised how closely this matches my personality, my characteristics. Yeah, because this is the first time we were meeting, right?
Those are what the naming expert took into account when he named. Overall, it means to be generous, beneficent, merciful to others, and work hard according to the will of heaven, which gave him a good fate.
It looks like he put a lot of work into it, thought into it. Yeah, I'm really, really impressed. Yeah.
Koreans, we have the family name already, which is a parent. But as Jonah is a non-Korean, he needs a family name as well. So for his family name, Son is recommended. Finally, now we got 5 recommendations for his name. 2 of these names have the same sound, but they use different Chinese characters. Even if we don't have much knowledge in Chinese characters, can we see that there are many meter and wood in the names? Anyway, the column on the right side shows the good points each name has. So, what name will Jonah finally choose? Why did you say it? You picked one, right?
Yes.
Can you tell me the name and why?
Yeah. So I picked Ju Yong. Yeah. I think that this one, it sounds to me, it just felt like the sound of it was nice to me. I liked the way it sounded. And I liked the meaning that you laid out here, and especially great success in one's career. That's something
something like in your life.
Yeah, right? Exactly. Yeah, right. Yeah. But also something I've been thinking about a lot lately as I came to Korea right after I graduated from university to get some experience living abroad, and also so I can reflect on what I want my career to look like when I go back to the United States and what I want my life to look like. So this name in particular, I think, spoke to me in the place that I am in my life right now and the things that I am thinking about. And so that's why I picked Juyong.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so
This is enough, right?
Yeah, I think it's great. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. 감사합니다.
감사합니다.
Yeah, 감사합니다.
Say bye bye.
Bye. Thank you.